So, one question I have for a lot of you is this. Do you think, or does it seem, like the IDW Creative staff of the MLP Season 10 comic, and the MLP comic overall, even before taking on the subtitle Season 10 moniker, do you think the IDW Creative staff is more willing to go down the romantic route for the main characters and some of the minor characters and sub characters and all that? Do you think they're more willing to go down the romantic route than DHX ever did with the animation portion of the series? Now, I bring this up because one, DHX and the creative staff behind the animated series with the flash animation and all that, they did what they could to kind of hint at romance within the series. Rarity and Spike right at the top, Cadence Shining Armor, Fluttershy and Discord, Soren, Rainbow Dash, you name it. They were willing to go down, they were willing to at least, throw in some moments here and there to kind of showcase that romance is within the show, but it's not the main priority. However, with that said, again, it brings me back to my question. Does it seem like to you that the IDW creative staff behind the MLP book, especially now with the subtitle Season 10 moniker because they're continuing the same continuity established in the animated series, do you think they're more willing to go down the romantic route than the animated version itself? Because one of the issues, or one of the story arcs that's beginning as we speak, has started already as we speak, has to deal with Pinkie and Cheese Sandwich being part of this celebration for Luna and Celestia. And it's been hinted in various synopses and through various covers, the main cover, cover A, and the first variant cover, cover B, that this is where the romance between the two will begin officially within the same continuity that, the comic is continuing from the animation portion. This story is basically hinting that this is where the romance will begin. Now, I bring that up because one of the variant covers that also was released was cover C, and it involves Applejack and Spike. Applejack on top of a mound of apples, while Spike is at the bottom eating one of the apples, and they're looking kind of playfully at each other. Now, I know some people might say it has nothing to do with the story. We have nothing to worry about. It's just something that a lot of comic book companies do. And that is true. A lot of comic book companies will create, these various variant covers for an issue, and sometimes one or both variant covers have nothing to do with what goes on in the issue. But again, getting back to the question, you have to wonder, does it seem like IDW is more willing to go down the romantic route, creatively, even within the same continuity that Season 10 takes place in, which is the animated continuity? Do you think they're more willing to go down that route? Do you think does it seem like they're willing to do that? Because let's say, DHX and Hasbro decided to continue the animated portion into a Season 10, officially have Season 10 animated and all that. Who's to say we would have gotten the story arc here with Cheese Sandwich and Pinkie Pie becoming an item? Who's to say that would have happened? We don't know. And I think that's why, in my opinion, comic books like IDW are more than willing to go down this path. Because if there's one thing comic books are known to be, especially even if they're based off of, established property like a video game or a toy or whatever, or an animated series or whatever, the one thing that they're known to do or known to be is more freelanced. They're known to be more freelance, and they're known to have more leeway. In other words, they could do a lot more than what could be accomplished in any other form of media that the franchise that they're based on or they're adapting comic book stories for are a part of. So they're willing to go in different directions that other adaptations may not go in. And that includes romance. So one has to think specifically, and assume just by the evidence and by what's going to be happening potentially towards the end of this two-part issue or two-part story arc, that this is where Pinkie and Cheese Sandwich officially become an item. Now, this does open the door potentially for other romances to take place. Now, some may speculate and look at variant cover C, the second variant cover with Applejack and Spike, and although a lot of people will assume nothing, that there's nothing to worry about, there will be those that will actually look at that cover and say, yeah, they're telling us something, they're hinting at something, but they're not saying anything. They're not saying anything until the time is right. And that might be true, but then again, it could be nothing. Because if there's one thing, a lot of fans would like romantically to be solved, or at least addressed in the IDW Season 10 books, is Spike and Rarity, possibly Spike and Sweetie Belle, any of the romances that were teased or alluded to in the finale. They want some kind of resolution in the Season 10 book. Now, if they go with Spike and Applejack, you're going to have to basically explain, okay, how did we go from Spike and Applejack to Applejack and Rainbow Dash, towards the end of the final episode, the last problem, if you will. You have to kind of explain that if you get to that point. But again, getting back on topic with my question, does it seem like IDW is more willing to go down the romantic route? In my personal opinion, yes. Because, again, you got to ask yourself, would we have gotten this, moment between Cheese Sandwich and Pinkie, in Season 10 if it was fully officially animated by DHX or Boulder Media? I don't think we would have. They probably would have still gone the same direction to avoid romance, but hint at it. In other words, hint that there's something more than friendship between the two, but then that's it. Just move along after that. But unfortunately we'll never know, but, through an animation perspective, but a comic book perspective, oh yeah, we will find out. We'll get our answer. But what do you guys think? Do you think, honestly, comic book publishers like IDW are willing more so than anybody to go down this route, especially if it's based, even if it's within, I should say, a comic book based on a licensed property? Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. I do apologize if I fumbled on my words. I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can before my mom gets home. Let me know, though, what you guys think down below. Comment if you like, and I'll talk to y'all later. But, yeah, what do you think? Do you think they're more willing to do this? And do you think maybe with cover C, the second variant cover, do you think they're teasing at something there? Or do you think that's nothing to worry about? Let me know down below, and I'll talk to y'all later.